Good afternoon, English 1 students. We're going to talk about presenting your persuasive paper. And here is the plan. So I already talked about using Zoom. It looks like that's going to work and hopefully work really well. Not as good as real life, but we're hoping it can work. So here's what we're going to do. This Friday morning, today's Wednesday when I'm doing this, and I'm going to hopefully get this video on in just a little bit, so you should be looking at this on Wednesday. So you have, not tomorrow, but Friday morning at 9 o'clock, we'd like to have our Zoom meeting and present our papers. So here's what you need to do. Hopefully you have the Zoom app on your device, phone, iPad, computer, whatever you have. And so you need to get the Zoom app. You don't have to have an account. So you want to go open Zoom and simply go to join a meeting. And then at that point, it's going to ask you for a meeting ID. And so right here, I have the meeting ID. I'm just going to step back. And so you're going to want to copy this down, 798-8305-5503. Now, we're going to have to do this in 2 meetings. The reason for that is because if you use the free form of Zoom, they only let us have a 40-minute meeting. And I was afraid 40 minutes wouldn't be enough for 8 of us. So, you know, that would only leave 5 minutes per person. It doesn't give me any time to chatter, and maybe that would be a good thing. Anyway, I was worried that 40 minutes wouldn't be enough. So we may have to have the second meeting. And so the second meeting will start at 9:45. Probably at 9:40 we'll have to quit, take a 5-minute break, and get back on at 9:45. And that meeting ID will be 766-2125-7070. So you click on join the meeting, you put the meeting ID in, and then it will ask for a password. And in both cases, we'll have the same password. English 1, capital E, small case, N-G-L-I-S-H, no space, and then the number 1. Okay, so no spaces, capital E, English, and 1 right behind it. That'll be your password, and it should put you right in there. It will say you're waiting in the waiting room. And so I would like to encourage you to get on 5 minutes early. So at 5 till 9 Friday morning, go ahead and get on, get signed in, and you'll be in the waiting room. And then I'll wait to open the meeting till promptly at 9 o'clock. And then at that point, hopefully, you will all be there. The reason I'm going to wait is because when I start the meeting, then we only have 40 minutes till it's going to shut us off. So, you all get on at 5 till 9, or earlier if you want to. It doesn't hurt. You'll just be waiting in queue in the waiting room. And then I'll get on at 9 o'clock. So, I just missed one thing. At one point it'll say, do you want video turned on? And you, of course, choose yes or on, or however it is asking you. And then it asks you about audio. And you want to choose that you use your device for your audio source, and that is opposed to like a telephone conference line. So video, yes, turn on. Audio, yes, use your device, not telephone. So yeah, don't get confused with, that would mean a separate telephone line, but you want to use the device you're using, so choose that. Okay, so I'm just going to let you look at that a little bit again, and you can stop the video to copy these down. You want to make sure to get these numbers down. If for some reason you do not get the number, text me and I will text you the number and password back. So again, 9 o'clock this Friday morning, you get on at 5 till and get on Zoom meeting. So here's what we're going to do. All of you be prepared to give your speech. I'm going to draw out your names, and the first thing I'll do is announce who's going to go first. When we get on there, we're gonna all be able to see everybody that's on the meeting, providing you're looking at your camera. And then I'll have everyone muted, so we won't hear any of you talking. So you'll just hear me to start with, and then each one of you, as it's your turn, I'll unmute you, and then you give your presentation, and we'll just work our way through like that. So you want to do a little practice with this. Find a way to get your phone up there to where it can video you, and you're giving this as a speech. So make sure you're able to, video yourself giving this speech. Okay, so now let's just talk about giving our speech a little bit from our book. All right, so if you get to lesson 14, they talk about delivering a manuscript speech. So the speeches you've done before, you've used note cards and you've spoken from notes. This time you have a paper written and you're going to essentially read the paper. So that doesn't change how you do your speaking. It's important that when you speak, you use good eye contact. How do you give good eye contact? Well, you can look at people, try to look around just a little bit. And of course, in the case of the camera, you just want to look into the camera as much as possible so that people can see your eyes and it feels like you are looking at them. Don't just look at your paper all the time. So you need to practice your speech to where you're really familiar with it so that you don't have to look at your paper. Make sure your paper is a large enough font that you can read it easily, that you don't get lost. And stuff is spaced well enough that it doesn't jam together so you don't lose your place. If you have one free hand or two free hands, you can you're holding with one hand, you can work your finger down. It can be that sometimes when you want to look up, you just have your thumb or your finger where you want to pick up again. So you can quickly look down and you know where you left off and you can go again. Sometimes in a manuscript speech, you may have to ad-lib a little bit. That means just take it as you think of it. Flying from the seat of your pants, sometimes that's called. And so as you're giving your speech, all at once it feels like that isn't quite clear. And so you may need to deviate just a little. It's also important to know that your speech may have to be said a little differently than you've written it, just because speaking and writing isn't quite the same thing. So make sure as you're reading it that it reads smoothly, that it comes out smoothly, and you may actually need to change your speech if it doesn't. You need to practice. So I highly encourage practicing your speech in front of the mirror. You can lock your bedroom door and practice. Now, if you think that's silly, how do you think teachers feel talking to an iPad when nobody's listening? So, it's okay. I would definitely encourage that. The last thing that almost the last thing they talk about is recovering if you make a mistake. That's such an important part of speaking. So you stumble over a word, or something doesn't, or you drop your paper. Well, just try not to get all flustered, and simply, as quickly as you can, recover and calm down, and go right on with your speech. Okay. The next lesson 15 just gives you a few thoughts on, let's see, I got ahead of myself. I wanted to talk about lesson 13 a little bit. So yeah, let's just go back to lesson 13 and think about that very briefly. Talks about voice. So when you talk, try to sound enthused. Make your voice sound like what you're doing. So if it's kind of funny, don't sound like you're crying. And if it is serious, don't sound like you're making a joke. Don't talk in a monotone. Just whenever you speak in public, you want to deliver your thoughts in a way that makes your audience pay attention and act on your message. While the content, what you say, All right, that's very monotone, and it puts us all to sleep. So be careful with that. If you have a problem with talking too fast, practice slowing down. If you talk too quietly, practice picking your voice up just a little. So make sure we can hear it. You went through a lot of trouble to write this, put a lot of energy into it. Make sure the rest of us can hear it. Your expression should look interesting, and you can use expression. Volume, varying your volume. Articulation is pronouncing words carefully and correctly. They note here how native speakers of a language tend to get sloppy with our speech. We tend to drop end sounds and not say the word correctly. So we don't pronounce our T's sharply, for example, and various other sounds that we just kind of round it off. So try to articulate carefully. It has again there number 5 about how fast or slow you speak, and it just varies from people. But typically you need to work on whatever your weakness is. Now, I can think of very good speakers at the opposite ends of this spectrum. So I think of someone like Paul Emerson from EBI. Definitely a learned man, good public speaker, he has good content, he speaks very slowly. His words are measured, and it's as if every word counts. And I appreciate that. It's good. I know a man from Kentucky who is an evangelist, Andy Coleman's, and he talks really fast. I mean, he just preaches away really, really fast. Very good speaker. He's been used of the Lord in wide ways. So God made us different, and that's okay. But it is also helpful to recognize maybe some of us need to slow down. Maybe some could pick it up just a little. Gestures, eye contact, posture, movement, facial expression, all of those will add to your speech. Now, the key here is you need to be into what you're saying. You get yourself into it. You become convinced that this is the way it is, and you people need to know about it, and it will come through as you speak. Now, if you're bored to death with what you have written, and you're pretty sure that it's not going to do us any good because it didn't do me any good, well, you better start over, because your speech isn't going to be very good. That's just how it is. And I face this practically every time I preach. And I admit, sometimes I read this and I'm like, it isn't good. It just isn't very good. And, the Lord needs to work on us, and we need to figure out what's wrong. And then there are those times, and I love to preach when this is the case, when you just prepare it, and it's like it's burning right out of your inside. It's just coming out of something you believe deeply and you feel deeply. And then it shows. It comes through as well. Okay, so how will you be graded? Again, I will be paying attention during the presentation. And if you go over to page 24, you see the grading page. And you'll have your how we will be graded. The last part there is actually on the presentation of your speech. So, hopefully at the Zoom meeting, I'll tell you a little more, but basically what I want to happen then after the speech, we're pretty much done. And so I still want you to hand all of your papers in, along with your workbook. So I'm hoping that all gets handed in this weekend, and I know at least one of you already handed your paper in. But I'm not requiring that, so your paper doesn't need to be handed in until after we're done speaking. And then we're going to be wrapping things up, and this weekend I'll get things graded and hopefully get it back to you by the next weekend, or next week sometime. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to give me a text or call me and we'll talk about it. But let's plan on Friday morning at 9 o'clock. Now, if it doesn't suit someone, please let me know as soon as possible, because I have to get this meeting set up. I already have the meeting set up, but they're not that hard to change. It's not that hard to schedule a new one. So please let us know, because we'll have to let everyone else know if we have to change anything. But I would encourage you as much as possible. Let's try to meet this, but I know you may have something going, even though I think we did talk about it earlier that it would be Friday. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. And with that, we'll see you Friday morning. Get on at 8:55, and hopefully I'll be on at 9 o'clock with a list of the speaking order, and we'll enjoy hearing each other speak. So, thank you very much. God bless you as you prepare.